the CEO of WeWork with us, Ryan Bennett. You know, in today's day and time, like communities and nurturing communities has become a big part of our lives, right? And customers today have become part of a community, and that's how we market to them. Maybe through storytelling format or different formats, we engage with our community. So let's hear it up from Ryan Bennett, from the CWeO of WeWorks, to actually throw light on this. Thank you, Ryan.
Hello. Whoa, that's loud. Hey guys, how you doing? How long has everyone been sitting? Do you guys need to get up and do some jumping jacks, or we feel good? So first off, thanks for having me. Really, really excited to be here. My name is Ryan Bennett. I'm the CWeO of WeWork here in India. I've been with WeWork for about 6.5 years. So when I started with the company, we had about 30 employees, and now we have close to, hopefully I can figure out how to use this. Now we have close to 8,000 employees. So I've really been able to see the journey from when we had 4 buildings in New York to now having buildings across 75 cities, 25 countries, over 300,000 members around the world. So it's been an exciting journey. Has anyone here been in a WeWork before? A few? Here in Bangalore? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about communities, right? Community is a very sexy word. Everyone talks about the value of communities, but what does that actually really mean when we're talking about our businesses? Let's see what we got here. Can we just go next slide? Oh, there we go. So I've had the fortunate experience over the past few years to be able to travel to over 15 countries with WeWork and really help us to expand those operations. So I spent my first 4 years in New York. I spent 1.5 years helping to scale our operations in Amsterdam. And I moved here to India about 1 year ago. And you know, over the last 6 years, I've traveled to 15 countries. And the one question that everyone always asks me is, like, how are people different around the world? How are people different in China compared to Latin America, or New York compared to Australia? And I'll talk a little bit about how I think everyone is the same, but first I'll talk about a few little differences here and there. So some of the little differences, like the way people eat, right? In India, it's a very, very communal way of eating. In Amsterdam, everyone brings in all of their food in the beginning of the week, and at 12:30 every day, everyone stops and eats together. If you go to New York, where I'm from, everyone literally runs outside, grabs a sandwich, and runs back to their desk and eats at their desk, right? Which is not that fun, but it is what it is. So the way we design those spaces is a little bit different, right? We're going to build bigger pantries with more space for people to eat and be communal, whereas in New York, maybe we don't need that space. In a lot of our locations, we have games. So we've realized, like in Korea, for example, people love to play golf. Koreans really love golf. So we put golf simulators in a lot of our locations, right? Here in India, if you come to a WeWork location, the tennis table is packed from 9 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock at night, right? Always packed. And people love playing carom and things like that. So we changed the games that we're putting into the space. So little cultural differences actually change. But when you really think about how people are different, really people are the same. And the one thing that brings all of us together is the fact that people want a sense of belonging, and they want to feel like they're a part of something that's greater than themselves. And that's something that's pertinent in every human being. It's something that drives us all together. So what is a community? A community is really, if you look at it by definition, it's a group of people with shared values that come together and form that community. And those shared beliefs are what create the community. The communities create the culture within that organization or within that. And then the culture really becomes the catalyst. The culture that's created within that community is what really drives the action from that community. So communities and tribes really touch every piece of our daily lives, from sports teams to religion to music to brands. There's communities that touch us, and many of us belong to a number of different communities within our lives. So if you look at one example, the Bishnoi community from Rajasthan, right? They've been around for 500 years now, and their core value and their missions were really focused on the love of animals and conservationism, right? And because they were so strong and so connected to their mission and their values, they're still around 500 years later. Another one is the Grateful Dead, right? A band that's been around for a long time and has seen immense success. The success of the Grateful Dead is really around the community that they've created. So that community has their own way of dressing, their own language, their own way of bonding with one another. And you think about why the Grateful Dead has been so successful when they've only really had one top 10 hit in their career, is because of the strong community that they were able to build. So when you're first starting to think about your company and how to create community, the first thing that you have to think about is, what is my mission statement, right? What is the mission statement of my company, and does my mission statement draw the right people to it, both customers and both employees, right? So what is your mission statement? So if we look at some companies that have been really successful, we can actually look at their mission statement and see who they're trying to attract as their community. So if you look at Airbnb, right? Airbnb, starting off, could have very easily said, our mission is to create a website where someone can make money off of their home. Now, if you think about that statement, it doesn't really convey any sort of community around that. So let's look at what Airbnb's statement really is. Their mission is to create a world where people can belong through healthy, and there's that belong word again, belong through healthy travel that is local, authentic, diverse, inclusive, and sustainable. So when someone reads that, they can either say, that's a kind of company that I can connect with from a mission standpoint that I want to work with, or that's a brand because of what they believe in, I want to be a part of. And it's really powerful. If we look at another company, Meetup. So Meetup was started right after 9/11 in New York by a gentleman named Scott Heffernan, who's the CEO. And he had such an intense experience after 9/11 from a community standpoint, from all these New Yorkers coming together, that he wanted to do something to actually create more community in the world. And if you look at Meetup's mission statement, their mission statement is really to use the internet to get people off of the internet, because they feel really passionate that meeting in real life is where there's going to be a lot of value. And for anyone here who hasn't used Meetup actually, India is one of their biggest markets, and regardless of how obscure your passion is, you can find people on Meetup that have the same obscure passion as you do. So when you talk about that, and you talk about having a really, really strong mission statement, again, the first thing that you want to do before you even start to attract customers is attract the right people to work with you, right? So you have a really strong mission statement, and we'll talk about WeWork's mission statement in a little bit, but once you have that really strong mission statement, you want to create rituals around that mission statement. And rituals are the things that bring that community and that mission statement to life, and that keep on reinforcing that. So we have a few rituals within WeWork. One of them we call TGIM, Thank God It's Monday. So I'm sure all of you are familiar with the acronym TGIF, where someone comes into the office on Friday and says, oh, TGIF, I can't wait for the weekend. Right? We actually think that that's the wrong way to look at things. We should get to a stage when we wake up and we go to work in the morning, we say, thank God it's Monday. I now have 5 days in front of me where I can really focus on doing what I love. Right? And that's really, really powerful. So every Monday within our organization, we all share a meal together, sit down, and talk about what's going on in the business. And that's a ritual that we've been able to create to help us build community internally. Another ritual we do is twice a year, we meet as an entire organization. 8,000 people are flown to a location, and we talk about our mission and our values and continually bring that home. So we do one in the United States called Global Summit, where we talk about what we accomplished the year prior and what we're looking to accomplish in the future. And then we do another one in the United Kingdom called WeWork Summer Camp, which is a 3-day festival that focuses on personal development, growth, and our 6 core values: authentic, entrepreneurial, grateful, inspired, together, and tenacious, and bringing everything around that so our community feels and our employees feel more connected to our core values. So just to give you an idea of what WeWork Summer Camp is about, I'm going to show you a 30-second video so you can see how we're looking to build community within our organization. So that was a few months ago. It's a lot of fun. So this is WeWork's mission statement: to create a world where people work to make a life and not just a living. And now that we've talked about how to create a mission statement that's going to drive a community, what are the tools that each of our businesses are going to use to actually create that community? And everyone's going to use different tools. If we think about Airbnb, they use two tools, really. The first tool they use is their website, right? And the ability to actually connect, book a home, and work with someone else. That's one piece. The other tool that they use are all the people that actually give up their space, right? And they feel really, really connected in creating a community around those people because they know that those people are their brand evangelists, their brand ambassadors. If you guys have read the news recently, Airbnb is even trying to give those people equity in their company, right? Because they feel that passionately that in order for their business to be successful, that community needs to feel very, very connected to the mission of the company. If you look at Meetup, it's really the same too. Meetup uses their web platform, right, as their tool to create community. But they also use all the community organizers and all the meetup organizers that actually create all of these meetups. And those are the tools that they use to create brand evangelists, brand ambassadors, because they know if they want to continue to grow the business, they need an army of people that are out there that aren't working for the company, but feel really, really connected to that community and to that mission. So when you think about WeWork, what are the tools that we use to create our community? Because we're a community company, that's our USP. So we really use three separate tools. We use space, events, and technology. So on the space side, we have hundreds of designers, architects, and researchers that are using spatial analytics to really understand how our spaces are being used, right? Where are people spending their time? When are they coming in the morning? When are they leaving? How are they interacting with one another? Because we feel that organic connection within our space is something that drives community and also drives the success of these businesses. So whether it's analyzing what art on the wall works, analyzing how wide a staircase should be, right? Can we build a staircase that creates more interaction? Can we actually bring in a stairwell which is a little bit tighter so people bump into one another and have that kind of experience, right? So all the things that we're doing from a design standpoint, we're doing to try to create organic community to bring people together. The other piece of it is events. So in every one of our locations around the world, we have a community management team that are really facilitators of collaboration. And their job is to know every one of the companies within that space and to know what their needs are and then to curate events to help those companies be more successful. So the events range from professional events like social media strategy or business finance to personal events like Bollywood dancing or yoga or meditation. And through all of these events, micro communities are created. So someone feels like they're a part of the WeWork community, but they also feel a part of the community within a specific building that does meditation, right? And that's another community that kind of digs into the spirit of what we're looking to achieve. So events are a really, really important piece of that. And then the last piece is technology. And we have a member network that has over 300,000 people around the world that are on it. So just to give you a good example of how it works, if you have a 5-person company here in Bangalore, and you say, you know what, I'm doing great in India, I want to expand to China, but actually I have no idea how to do that, right? You can actually get on our member network and find everything that you need. So when you take a 5-person office at a WeWork in China and you land, you already have your accountant, your lawyer, your social media strategist, and everything that you need to be effective within WeWork and within China. And that's really, really impactful. The ability to go from an Indian business to a multinational business within a span of a few weeks and have all the context that you need, that's really the power of a global community. So why is this impactful for our business? It's impactful because, again, we feel that our mission is to help our members create their life's work. And by doing that, and what we need to do is really help them to be more successful. So from having these different ways that we actually use and connect with community, 70% of our members actually interact with one another, both online or offline. And 50% of our members actually do business together, which is really powerful. A great example of that is we have a member in Bombay called Blob City. And through these events that were going on in one of our buildings, they met Jaguar Land Rover, which is another one of our members in that specific building. And they were able to actually get a big contract with Jaguar Land Rover to actually do a lot of their data analytics. So from being a part of that community and connecting both on a personal and professional level with businesses from one-person startup to some of the biggest customers and biggest companies in the world, they were actually able to grow their business, which ties into our mission of helping our members to create their life's work. So that's really how it impacts within WeWork, but why is it important to this room, right? When you think about, and I don't know, just myself personally, if I need to buy a piece of electronic equipment or I want to go on a vacation, I'm usually not going online. I'm reaching out to my network and I'm saying, hey, who has been to Oman? And where do you have recommendations? Or I need to buy a new pair of headphones. Like, which ones do you recommend, right? So many people are looking for word of mouth to really drive their business. Just as a personal example, WeWork really did no sales and marketing for the first 5 years of our business. Our business grew from one location to close to 200 on word of mouth. And when you think about that in real dollars and cents and then return on investment of actually creating communities within your space that drive word of mouth, it's extremely powerful. So 5 times more sales from word of mouth marketing than paid marketing, which is astounding in my mind. 90% of all purchases are influenced by word of mouth. So think about that. I make a lot of my purchases the same way, but your ability to connect with your customers and to make them feel like they're a part of a community is going to be more valuable than spending normal marketing dollars, right? Really, really important. But I think it really comes down to one thing when you're thinking about creating a community and building a community and nurturing a community and leveraging a community to really help you grow your business. The biggest thing is that innate desire for every human being to want to be a part of something that's greater than themselves. And when you think about, when you just look at, not to get too off topic, when you think about happiness studies, right? It's usually the people who are most happy are the people who have great marriages, are the people who have great circles of friends, and the people who feel like they belong in many different facets. So when you're thinking about your business, think not only is community good for my business, but I'm actually changing the world in a positive way where I'm giving people what they most innately desire, the ability to belong to something that's greater than themselves. Thank you very much. Sure. Does anyone have any questions that I can answer? It's a great question. We're getting there. So just to give you guys a little bit of background on where we are right now, we started this location. We started this year. We had 3 locations in India. We're going to end this year with 21, which is pretty astounding, and we're really, really excited about. We're actually opening 10 locations in the next 60 days across India, mostly right now in Gurgaon, in Bombay, and in Bangalore. Next year, we're going to be expanding to Chennai, Hyderabad, and Pune. So we're going to focus on those 3 cities next, and then probably in 2020 we'll be looking at Calcutta as well. So, we think that the opportunity here in India is a really special one for a number of different reasons. But one of the things that I find after working out for WeWork in a lot of different places around the world that really is special about here is more so than anywhere else I've been, the sense of community that's built into the culture here is very different than anywhere else in the world. And I think for a company that really focuses on community and building community, I think that's something that's really powerful that will help us to continue to grow in India. So good question. Yeah. Sure. So the question was, how do we leverage technology at the city level and at the WeWork level to create community, both digitally? So one of the ways is obviously a lot of it. We use technology for events, right? So basically posting events on the platform where everyone can see it and come to one location and see cross collaboration around that. So that's one big way we do it. The other thing that we really do is within that, at the city level, we really try to create a lot of micro communities. So I touched on that a little bit as well, but within the greater WeWork community, creating micro communities that people can really get into is something that's valuable. So examples of micro communities would be, a book club, right? Which has nothing to do with with work, right? Where people from literally a one-person startup can sit with someone from Amazon, can sit with someone from Microsoft, can sit with someone from Discovery, and all be in a book club together. There's actually real synergies that come from that. So a lot of what we're using within our technology is using the technology to get people activated in the space and to meet in person, because we think there's a lot of value in that. So the main way we use technology is really to drive human interaction at the physical level.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Ryan.